these they be that dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. And what be the land is, whether be fat or lean, rather be wood therein or not. And be of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. I want you to bounce and stay in that same chapter, but go to verse number 25. Go to verse number 25. And it says, and they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and unto Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, we came unto the land where thou sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in that land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. The last verse, verse number 30, declares, in Caleb still the people before Moses, and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. I want to use a topic for this blessed morning. Don't be afraid of the giants. Remember, somebody next to you would tell them, don't be afraid of the giants. Here in the book of Numbers chapter 13, this is the story of Moses and the people of Israel as God freed them from their slavery in Egypt and led them to the borders of the promised land. And when they arrive, what happens in the story that God gives the command, and Moses tells the people that now it is the time for us to go and take the land which God has given to us. But first, he appoints a committee, and he selects one person from each tribe and tells them, go and spy out the land. I want you to observe the people in the land. I want you to look at their lifestyles, in their cities, in their produce. And then after you do all that, I want you to come back and give us a report. Tell us if the promised land is everything that God said it would be. So the 12 takes off, and the 12 men spent 40 days spying out the land. Then they came back to give their report. They came back to Moses and Aaron and to the whole Israel community. And there they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. And they gave Moses this report. They said, Moses, we went into the land to which you sent us. And it does flow with milk and honey. Matter of fact, here is some evidence. Here is some fruit of the land. In the first part of their report, all 12 was in a unanimous decision. They were very positive about what they saw. They said, we looked at the land, and it is exactly as God said it would be. It is a land that flows with milk and honey. And they brought back a huge cluster of grapes and pomegranates and figs as evidence of its fertility. But from that point on, their report was no longer unanimous. The committee began to be divided 10 to 2. And the majority begins the rest of the report with the word, but. Lord, help me preach in the house today. Have you ever noticed how often the word but is heard in the meeting when you're discussing your future plan? No matter what is suggested, there are almost always some doubting Thomases in the room who think it just can't be done, or who thinks that you're wasting your time. But the majority, when they went to the land that God had promised them, all they saw was giants there. But there was only 2 that saw God there. The 10 must have forgot about the power of God. once in a while. Giants come to strike fear in us. Giants come to intimidate us. Giants come to distract us. Giants come to block us. Giants come to slow us down. Giants come to even make us second guess our God. But you want to look at somebody under the power of God and tell them, don't be afraid of the giants. There was only 2 men out of the 12, and it don't take a whole lot of folk when it come to God. But there was only 2 men out of the 12 by the name of Joshua and Caleb that steal the people. Sometimes when folk get to talking negative, you got to steal people right where they are, because that negative talk got to come to a halt. Y'all hear what I'm saying tonight? And Joshua and Caleb, why were they able to steal the people? Because obviously Joshua and Caleb must have remembered everything that God had already did in their lives. What are you saying, preacher? Joshua and Caleb must have remembered that once upon a time they were stuck in Egypt land. They must have forgot. They must have forgot. The other 10 must have forgot that once upon a time they were under the hardship of Pharaoh, and they thought that there was going to be no way out. But God had sent a deliverer by the name of Moses. You ought to encourage your neighbor, say, don't you dare forget what God has already done in your life. How soon we get spiritual amnesia and forget about all the blessings and forget about all the healings and forget about all the times you thought you wasn't going to make it. But God had sent somebody to pull you out of your darkness and bring you with the marvelous light. How dare you forget how God blessed your life? You had nothing. You was empty. You didn't know how you was going to make it. But God pulled you out of your muck and miry clay. How soon you forget you was broke once upon a time. You was homeless once upon a time. You was an addict once upon a time. And if God can bring you out there, what make you think God out there, preacher? What make you think God cannot bring you out now? And that's why I believe Joshua and Caleb, when they saw the giants, they said, just another thing for my God to do. When they saw the giants, they didn't get scared like the other 10, because they knew how powerful that God was. I don't care how big your giant might be. You want to tell your neighbor, ain't nobody bigger than my God. I can care less how big your situation might be. There ain't nothing bigger than your God. I can care less how big it may seem. I can care less how gigantic it may look to your physical eyes. But there ain't nothing more powerful than the God that you serve. Look to the name and say, don't be afraid of the big bad giants. Oh Lord, let me preach in this house today. Honestly, the other 10 deacons must have forgot how God had been good to them. Obviously, the other 10 must have forgot how they've been homeless before. The other 10 must have forgot that God already brought them out of darkness and brought them into the marvelous light. Don't you know the Bible say the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore? What are you saying, preacher? If God brought me out then, He can bring me out now. The Bible said, He says, I'm God and I change not. If I was a deliverer yesterday, I can be a deliverer today. If I could bring you out yesterday, I can bring you out today. If I can heal your body yesterday, I can heal your body today. If you went through some rough times in your life, if you went through some storms or two in your life, and how many know God covered you when you were going through your storm? God, don't rush me yet, man. Give me about 3 more minutes. Preach for about 2 more minutes. Let me preach for about 2 more minutes. What do you see? They went to the land. They went to the land. They went to the land. And I can say God saying, what do you see? 10 saw the giants. 2 saw God. Can I help you today? No matter what trouble comes your way, I still see God. No matter if sickness is trying to come my way, I still see God. No matter what the price tag is, I still see God. No matter when worry comes in your life, I still see God. No matter when haters come in your life, I still see God. No matter when disappointments come in my life, I still see God. Can I help you today before you go home? See, the devil just wants you to see the negative. The devil just wants you to see the negative. The devil, I said it 3 times for myself, the devil just wants you to see the negative. He don't want you to see the blessing. All he wants you to see is the hate. All the devil wants you to see is the worry. He don't want you to see the blessing. All the devil wants you to see is what you can't do. All the devil wants you to see is the bill. All the devil wants you to see are the haters. But don't you know, I don't see haters, I see God. I don't see trouble, I see God. What are you saying? Because I walk by faith. And my faith says, I don't care what trouble come my way, I'm still blessed. My faith says, I don't care what the doctors say, I'm still blessed. My faith says, I don't care what the bills say, I'm still blessed. I don't care what people say, I'm still blessed. Look at somebody, tell them, don't be afraid of the giants. Look at somebody, say, God made me a promise. And that's what the other 2, Joshua and Caleb, that's what they must have formed in their mindset. Even though there were giants in the land, I got